Archangel Michael says, "Do you feel it? That unsettling silence after the decision was made? Have you been tossing and turning at night, questioning whether you acted too fast, too blind? Did your hands write a yes when your spirit screamed no? Did you ignore the still small voice that warned you just seconds before everything changed? This isn't paranoia. This is a divine alarm, and I have been sent to sound it. What if I told you that the very choice you just made was not yours alone? That a hidden force influenced it, masked as logic, cloaked in comfort, but birthed from deception? What if I told you that there are only a few moments left to reverse it? This message is not entertainment. This is not a coincidence. You did not stumble upon this by mistake. I, Archangel Michael, was dispatched with one final warning, sealed in heaven, marked with urgency, trembling with divine weight. A shift is happening around your house right now. Even as you read these words, the spiritual atmosphere is breaking open. Something you thought was settled is being stirred. You may not see it yet, but your name has been spoken in the heavens, and this is your moment to choose differently. You are not alone. I am standing at your threshold with my sword drawn, watching the very gate where the enemy tried to slip in. One last chance, one final moment to reverse the course. The decision you made did not just affect you. It triggered something in the spirit. But so can your obedience now. Type 111 if your spirit feels the pull. And keep reading, because what comes next will expose the root, the reason, and the rescue. Don't skip this. This is the final chance. Archangel Michael says, you thought it was just a decision. You thought it was a simple choice, logical, necessary, maybe even wise in the eyes of those around you. But what your mind called reasonable, your spirit tried to resist. That uneasy feeling you felt just before you signed, walked away, closed the door, said the words, that wasn't fear. That was me trying to interrupt. You didn't hear me. Or maybe you did, and chose silence. But now I speak loud. The heavens trembled the moment you made that choice, because the enemy had been waiting for it, strategically, patiently, quietly. He didn't come with horns or fire. He came with a suggestion, a whisper, a gentle pressure from someone you trusted. He came through a back door you left unguarded because you were too tired to check it. And now I stand before you with the truth. That decision has shifted the atmosphere around your life. You can already feel it. The heaviness in your chest, the distant look in their eyes, the sudden delay, the missing piece. What looked like the right path has been tangled in invisible cords, cords you cannot break on your own. But I can. I was sent because time is thin. And if you don't hear me now, that decision will become a gate. One that either opens to divine reversal or slams shut with consequences. Yes, this is about a spiritual door. The enemy has been watching you for years. He waited for the moment when you would be worn down, disappointed, desperate enough to say yes without prayer. And when that moment came, he sent his counterfeit. You thought it was provision, but it was a trap. You thought it was an open door, but it was a beautifully disguised delay. Do you know what happens when you agree with something heaven didn't authorize? You give it legal right to enter your life, and now that agreement is sitting in the spirit, trying to attach itself to your timeline. But I was sent to interrupt it. I was sent to break the power of that decision before it fully manifests. And yes, it still can be reversed, but only if you act now. This is not a message to comfort your excuses. This is a trumpet. This is war. This is a holy interruption. You see, there are angels who bring messages. There are angels who deliver healing. But I was sent with a sword. Because what you decided triggered a covenant, and not all covenants are divine. Some are forged in confusion. Some are made under duress. Some are birthed in emotional pain, loneliness, or old trauma. That's how the enemy works. He doesn't need to shout. He just needs to wait until you're weak and whisper something that sounds like relief. Do you remember that strange conversation before you made your choice? Do you remember that random dream? That odd warning from someone you barely know? That was me. That was the final attempt to stop it. But now it's done. And I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to give you one last key. There is still time, but only if you act before midnight. The heavens are holding back consequences on your behalf. But the longer you delay, the heavier they become. The decision you made has a string attached, and that string is leading to a room you don't want to enter, because inside that room is a betrayal you didn't see coming. Someone smiled at you when you made the decision. But behind that smile was an agenda. They knew what would happen. They counted on it. And if you don't reverse this, the effects will ripple through not just your life, but your children's, your peace, your resources, your very calling. Now I'm going to say something hard, but I must. You were warned, not once, not twice, but several times in subtle spiritual ways. The anxiety, the hesitation, the repeated signs, the blocked attempts, that phone call that never went through, that person who ghosted you at the last minute. It wasn't just life being life. It was me. I rerouted everything to slow you down, but you pushed through. And now, I must tell you what you're facing. That decision placed you in agreement with a spirit of stagnation. That's why things feel slower. That's why what once felt clear is now foggy. That's why someone around you has changed overnight. It wasn't just a bad call. It was a misalignment in the spirit. But here is the mercy of heaven. I am here now, and I hold the authority to reverse it. But only if you repent of the agreement. Only if you acknowledge that you moved too quickly and invite divine correction. This is not a punishment. This is a rescue. You were not meant to carry the weight of this alone. You were not meant to live under the pressure of a decision born in exhaustion. That's why heaven sent me now, to speak boldly, to command your attention, to lift what the enemy tried to place on your back like chains. But you must act. You must revoke what was spoken. You must cancel what was signed. Even if it wasn't literal paper, words were said, thoughts were agreed with, spirits were entertained. And those things are real in the eyes of the spirit world. What you need to say now is simple but powerful. Lord, I reverse the decision I made outside of your will. I reject every agreement not made in the light. I command every delay, every curse, every counterfeit blessing to be broken. Now. Type 777 if you feel this fire in your soul. Because this is the moment of exposure. This is the moment of reversal. This is the moment when I, Archangel Michael, place my sword between you and the consequences waiting at your doorstep. This is the one chance to shift your direction before the wrong thing locks into place. What was broken can be rebuilt. What was delayed can be accelerated. What was poisoned can be purified. But only if you don't ignore this. Don't say later. Don't scroll and forget. Don't act like this message isn't yours. Because it is. I am not standing outside someone else's home. I'm standing at yours. And I am not knocking gently. I am sounding a divine alarm. Open now, or the door will close harder than you expect. This was the decision that changed everything. But this is the moment that can still change it back. Archangel Michael says, "You heard me. Don't pretend you didn't." That whisper you brushed off, the dream you chalked up to coincidence, the uneasy silence after they spoke to you. Yes, that was me. Every time your spirit stirred but your mind overruled it, I was speaking. You asked God for signs, and they came. You asked for confirmation, and I sent it. But the problem is, you weren't ready for the truth that confirmation would bring. Because the truth meant you'd have to face something, and possibly walk away from what felt comfortable, predictable, even familiar. You were looking for peace, but peace without truth is just a pretty prison. I was sent by the Most High to speak what others are too afraid to say. Because this is not about preference anymore. This is about your purpose. And yes, you heard me. But you did not listen. Do you remember when you sat in that room and everything suddenly felt Wrong? The light was right, the temperature was fine, but your heart was anxious, your chest tight. That was me pressing into your atmosphere, hoping you'd pause. But you pushed forward. You said, "It's probably just me overthinking." But it wasn't you. It was me. I sent chills down your spine when you touched the object that didn't belong in your home. I caused that flickering light in the hallway. I let the silence fall at the exact moment they said your name in a sentence that didn't sit right. That wasn't paranoia. That was prophecy trying to get through your walls. Heaven has been tracking your every movement, not to judge, but to protect. And you've made it hard. Because every time I sent a voice, you explained it away. Every time I nudged your spirit, you drowned it out with distractions. Every time you dreamed of running, of falling, of fighting, those weren't just dreams. They were maps. Maps showing you where the battle was happening and what door to avoid. But you rolled over, hit the snooze button on your soul, and told yourself it wasn't literal. And now look, you feel off, don't you? You feel disconnected. You don't even know what changed. But the joy you once had now feels like a memory, not a companion. You keep saying, "I just need time." But time doesn't heal spiritual disobedience. Only obedience does. And now I have to show you what happened when you chose silence over surrender. When you ignored the voice. Someone entered your life during that window. Someone who smiled, who offered help, who looked like they came to support. But they didn't. They came with a hidden motive. They were activated the moment you dismissed the warning. They took your silence as permission. They saw your kindness as a blindfold. And now, they're closer than they've ever been. Too close. They've started speaking your name in places you don't belong. Places where your name is not being blessed, but being bartered. This is what happens when you ignore the voice. It creates a vacuum. And darkness loves to fill silence. You've been wondering why the people around you seem different. Why the one who used to support you suddenly goes quiet when your plans come up. Why the atmosphere shifts when you speak about your future. Let me tell you plainly. They heard the same whispers you did, but they're not ignoring them. They're acting on them. They've partnered with a spirit of distraction, and now they're trying to lead you further from the path heaven laid for you. But I'm here to cut the cord, to sound the alarm, to tell you, this is the moment to reverse it. You were not created to live under a spirit of almost. Almost healed, almost delivered, almost chosen, almost blessed. That's the curse of silence. And I refuse to let you die with your destiny trapped behind a door you never opened. But I must show you something else now. There was a moment, a precise moment. The day you felt like crying for no reason. You were fine 1 minute, and broken the next. Your chest got heavy. Your memories rushed in. You sat still because it felt like something was watching you. That was the spirit. And I was standing right there. I said your name 3 times in the spirit realm. I sent a breeze into your room. I touched the curtain. I whispered, "Don't go through with it." But you called it anxiety. You blamed it on stress. You tried to breathe your way through what was actually a divine stop. That's how much I love you. That I would disrupt the very air around you to try and reach your soul. But still, you closed the door. And now the one who came through is using words to manipulate, to convince, to blend light and shadow into confusion. You feel it. You hear it. You just haven't had the courage to call it out. But I do. That person was not sent from God. That agreement you made was not sealed in heaven. That opportunity was laced with delay. And this moment, this message, it is your way out. Because the voice you ignored is now shouting, "I am the voice. I am the one who has circled your house. I have stood at your bed while you slept. I have guarded the threshold your enemy thought was unprotected. And now I speak with full authority. It's not too late, but it will be soon. The one you think is helping is actually watching. The one you think is covering you is actually copying your every move. reporting it back to someone else. They are not obvious. They are skilled. But I see them, and I will expose them. But you must be obedient now. Say these words: God, I repent for silencing you. I receive your voice again. I cancel every agreement I made outside your instruction. Say it out loud, because the spiritual realm only responds to faith that moves the mouth. You have been too quiet for too long, and silence is no longer safety. It's a surrender to sabotage. So speak. Speak what heaven is waiting to hear. Type 444 if you feel the awakening beginning. Because the moment you speak, my sword will swing. I will sever what bound you. I will reveal what's been hiding. I will drag into the light what's been whispering in shadow. But I need your voice. I need your yes. I need your willingness to hear again. Because the voice you ignored didn't stop speaking. It just got louder. And now? Now it becomes action. This is your second chance. Do not scroll past it. Do not quiet your heart again. You are standing in the moment before midnight. And if you listen now, what was meant to destroy you will be used to deliver you. The next chapter will reveal the war in your atmosphere. Archangel Michael says, you've felt it. The pressure, the stillness that's too quiet, the sudden chills when no windows were open, the sense that something is watching, but not with love. This is not your imagination. This is the shift in the atmosphere, and it started the moment you said yes to the wrong thing. It's been subtle at first. The room feeling heavy, technology glitching when you tried to pray, a conversation getting interrupted every time you tried to mention God. You've noticed it, but you keep brushing it off. Child, don't brush this off. Because I was the one pressing into the atmosphere to show you. The air around your life has become a battlefield, and while you sleep, something has been moving in the corners of your house. While you eat, something spiritual has been circling your name. It's not just life being weird. It's a presence that was invited by what you agreed to. But I am not afraid of what entered. I was sent to drive it out. And I need you to understand how real this is. The enemy has launched an atmospheric assault. He doesn't need to break your body. He just needs to block your air. He doesn't need to destroy your faith. He just needs to clog the atmosphere so you can't feel God, so you doubt what you once knew. That's why you've been feeling foggy. Why the prayers aren't flowing like they used to. Why your favorite worship song suddenly feels dry. The atmosphere has shifted, because something spiritual is sitting in it. But I, Archangel Michael, have drawn my sword. And I'm not just standing near you, I'm walking through your house right now in the spirit. Room by room, corner by corner, discerning, identifying, removing what was never meant to linger. But I can only go where I'm allowed. Your faith is the key. Your voice is the doorway. And right now the air is being stirred by war. Let me show you what happened. There is someone close to you who opened a door on your behalf. They spoke your name in agreement with something unclean. It wasn't a curse spoken out loud. It was a hidden jealousy, a silent offense, a passive agreement with a lie about you. And that was all the enemy needed. Because offense is a portal, and when they let it fester, it became a key. That's why your name has been in rooms you've never entered. That's why your ideas are suddenly being mimicked, your joy strangely draining. It's atmospheric warfare, and it's real. But heaven has not left you defenseless. I am here because something is about to be reversed, but only if you clean the air. There are words lingering. Things you said in pain, in frustration, in disappointment. Words like, maybe this is just how it is, or I guess I'll always be stuck. Child, those words linger. Words are seeds, and what you planted in the air is now trying to grow into reality. But not if I can help it. Tonight, I am stirring the atmosphere. Yes, tonight. Before midnight strikes, you will feel a shift. It might be a breeze when no windows are open, a light flickering when no switch was touched, a song playing that carries a lyric you didn't expect. Pay attention, because when heaven moves, so does the air. Let me show you how deep this goes. There was a moment recently when you said something in frustration, and the air around you felt strange immediately after. You might have thought it was a coincidence. It wasn't. The enemy heard your agreement with hopelessness, and he started crafting a storm based on your own confession. That's why this message is urgent, because if you don't revoke what you spoke, you will start to live what you never meant to declare. But I was sent to stop it. This is how you reverse it. Right now, speak these words. I cancel every word I've spoken in fear, frustration, or pain. I purify the atmosphere of my life. Let the wind of heaven blow through my home. Let the voice of God reign again. Type 777 if your spirit feels the fire of release, because now the atmosphere is responding. You may feel it right now. A tingling, a warmth, a sudden heaviness lifting. That's not emotion. That's the result of spiritual obedience. And I'm not done. There is something else in your home. Yes, your home. It's an object, a photo, a letter, something small that carries the residue of pain or false identity. You've kept it out of habit, or nostalgia, or maybe you didn't know what it truly represented. But I do. And tonight I'm asking you to remove it. Because the atmosphere around it is compromised. It may not seem evil, but it holds energy from a chapter you're supposed to be free from. And as long as it stays, your atmosphere stays divided. You cannot walk fully into a new season when remnants of your old identity still decorate your space. Clean the air. Purge the space. Speak over every room. This is holy ground. No deception may dwell here. No false spirit may linger. This house belongs to God. Because, child, if you don't take authority over your space, something else will. You are not made to live under spiritual heaviness. You were made to breathe in divine presence. And if your atmosphere is blocked, your destiny is delayed. This is the truth. The atmosphere has power. It can make a person comfortable in sin or convicted in silence. It can invite angels or repel them. And right now, your house is at a crossroads. Heaven is circling. Demons are watching. And your response will determine what stays. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it because I've seen what happens when people ignore the shift. They call it depression, but it was spiritual fog. They call it confusion, but it was an unauthorized voice in their atmosphere. They call it fatigue, but it was warfare sitting in the corners of their home. Don't make the same mistake. Take back the air. Right now, open your window if you can. Light a candle in prayer. Speak a blessing over your doorway. Do something physical to match your spiritual stance. Because I, Archangel Michael, have cleared the space. Now you must claim it. And remember, atmosphere doesn't just exist in rooms. It exists in relationships. Some people bring clouds. Some carry lightning. Others come with divine wind. Discern the difference and adjust accordingly. If someone drains your peace every time they speak, that's not love. It's a sign. If your joy fades after their visit, don't ignore the pattern. Atmosphere doesn't lie. Trust what you feel when you walk into a room. Trust what lingers after a conversation. Your body may not know, but your spirit always does. And right now, your spirit is waking up. Because I've stirred the winds again. You are not alone. You were never alone. I've been walking your halls for days, waiting for this moment. To declare, the atmosphere is shifting. What was dark will now be revealed. What was heavy will now be lifted. What was cursed will now be blessed. If you believe it, say Amen in the Spirit, and prepare yourself. Archangel Michael says, this is it, the final hour. The window is narrowing. The veil is thinning. The decision you once made in haste can still be reversed, but not tomorrow. Now. This is not poetic. This is not a metaphor. This is the last opportunity before what was once flexible becomes fixed. You've been sensing this, haven't you? Time feels different lately. Days move fast, but your spirit feels stuck. You've noticed odd things, broken clocks, repeated numbers like 111, 444, 999. Those aren't random. Those are divine timestamps, each one signaling that heaven has been trying to stop the train before it crashes. And now I, Archangel Michael, have been given final clearance. This is the last time I will speak this word to you. Listen to me with your spirit, not just your ears. You are standing in a spiritual courtroom. Heaven is watching. Hell is listening. And the decision must be made. Let me show you what's happening behind the veil. That decision you made, whether in business, relationship, a contract, a move, or even a secret vow you made to yourself, it shifted something in the spiritual realm. It gave permission to a chain of events that was not written in your destiny. But heaven wrote a clause, a divine override, a moment where mercy would interrupt momentum. That moment is now. And what you do in this moment will not just affect today, it will echo into generations. Yes, generations. Because what you call a personal decision is actually a bloodline altar. You made a choice in a tired moment, but it opened a door over your lineage. And now your children, your household, your legacy are standing in the path of what comes next. But hear me clearly. You can reverse this if you listen, if you act. Let me explain what must be done. There are spiritual laws, unseen but unbreakable. When you enter an agreement with a lie, the truth cannot operate freely. When you say yes to a counterfeit, you tell the original blessing it is no longer needed. But heaven is patient. And God in His mercy said, give them one more moment, one more message, one more voice. That's why I'm here. That's why you couldn't sleep last night. That's why you stumbled on this exact message. Because you are standing at the border of irreversible consequence or supernatural reversal. This is your final opportunity, and here's what you must do. You must renounce the decision. With your words, with your will, with your obedience. Do not say, I'll think about it. You've thought long enough. You've waited long enough. You've stayed connected to things that drain you, bind you, and confuse you, and every time heaven tried to speak, the enemy whispered, it's not that deep. But I am here to tell you, it is that deep. Spiritual delay is not just inconvenience, it is strategic sabotage. Every time you hesitate, a demon rejoices, because hesitation is the currency of delay. But not this time, not if you act. Right now, before the clock turns again, you must say this out loud. Father, I reverse the decision I made outside your will. I sever every spiritual agreement with deception, confusion, and delay. I accept divine alignment. I say yes to the path you chose for me before time began. Speak it.